Welcome in everybody to another lesson. So today we are going to review converting non-repeating decimals into fractions, and then I'm also going to teach you how to convert repeating decimals into fractions. So let's start with a few non-repeating decimals, just your typical decimals. So let's say you have something like 0.4. We know it's read as 4/10, right? Well, that kind of gives away what the fraction's going to be. We want to convert this into a fraction. 4/10, however, that's not in reduced form. 4/10 would reduce down to 2/5, because both the 4 and the 10 have a common 2 in common. So you divide both the 4 and the 10 by 2, you get 2/5. So 0.4 would be 2/5. Then we have 0.09. Well, 0.09 is read as 9/100ths, so it's all in the name. It would just be 9/100ths. And 9 and 100 have no common factors, so it reduces no further, so your answer is just going to be 9/100ths for the fraction. And by the way, if you're unsure of how to convert decimals into fractions, please go back to my Basic 1 playlist where I do have that in more detail than this. Since this is pre-algebra, I'm not going to fully reteach it. We're going to review it, but if you want to fully learn it, go back to my Basic Math 1 playlist and you will find it there. Okay? It's always there anytime you need to review anything. Alright, let's say we have 5.22. 5.22. Well, now we have a whole number with a decimal. Before, we just had 0 in decimals. It wasn't a whole number, but 5's a whole number. Whenever you have a whole number with a decimal, you leave the whole number alone. The 5 stands. Now let's focus on the 0.22. This can be read as 5 22/100ths, right? So that's what your mixed number fraction is going to be, 5 22/100ths. But the 22/100ths reduces down further. They both have a common 2, right? If you divide both the numerator and denominator by 2, numerator will become 11, the denominator will become 50. So therefore, your mixed number fraction you would get as an answer is going to be 5 11/50ths. Alright, then we have 1.68. We've been given 1.68, which can be read as 1 68/100ths. So the whole number 1 will stay. Then you have the 68/100ths. You'll have 1 68/100ths. Well, we can definitely right away notice that the 68 and the 100, those definitely have common factors that will reduce. They both have a common 4, as it turns out. So if you divide 68 divided by 4, you'll get 17. You divide 100 by 4, you'll get 25. So the mixed number is going to be 1 17/25ths. I got a few more regular ones, then we'll be done. I got 2 more. We have 3.625. So 3.625 is read as 3 625,000ths. So we can also make that into your fraction, 3 625,000ths. Well, to save us all some time, of course we're going to keep the whole number 3, but 625 and 1,000 both have a common factor of 125. If you divide the numerator of 625 divided by 125, you get 5. You divide 1,000 by 125, you get 8. So the mixed number for this is going to be 3 5/8. Alright, then I got one more. We have 8.004. So we have 8.004. This can be read as 8 and 4 thousandths. So we'll have 8 and 4 thousandths. We'll write that as a fraction now. It's a decimal just written as a fraction, 8 and 4 thousandths. But it's very clear that the 4 and the 1,000 both have a 4 in common that will cancel out between the numerator and the denominator. So you keep your 8. Well, 4 divided by 4, that's 1. 1,000 divided by 4, that's 250. So the fraction you would get is 8 and 1 250ths. That's the answer you would get. Alright, so that's kind of the basic review of converting non-repeating decimals into fractions. Now we're going to start with some repeating decimals. We're going to convert those into fractions. So let's say you have something like 0.2 bar. You have a bar over the 2. Well, how are we going to convert that? Okay, so keep in mind what your original decimal is. We'll let n equal the original decimal. So let n equal the original decimal. Now, how many decimal places do we see that aren't repeating? We see 1. We just see one decimal place here has the bar over it, and it's just going to be it's going to be 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, so on. It's going to keep going. Since you only see one decimal place, you need to just multiply by 10. What you'll get if you multiply by 10 is you'll get 2.2 repeating. You would get 2.2 repeating if you because let's look at this here. If you have 0.2 repeating, that's the same as 0.2222222, so on. You multiply it by 10, you'll get 2.2 bar. Alright, now what you're going to do to convert this to a fraction, you'll take your 10n, which is equal to 2.2 bar, minus n, which is equal to 0.2 bar. Okay, do your subtraction. Left side, 10n minus n, that's 9n. So we got 9n is equal to, well, 2 bar minus 2 bar, that wipes out the bar. The repeating's gone. 2 minus 0 is 2. Because, of course, bar 2 minus bar 2 wipes that out. You'll just have 2 minus 0, which is 2. So now you're left with 9n equals 2. Since we have 9n, we want to get n by itself to get us our fraction. You have to divide both sides by 9. So we'll go ahead and do that here. You divide the left side by 9, you'll just get n by itself. And 2 divided by 9 goes no further. So your fraction you're looking for is going to be 2/9. You would come up with 2/9 as your fraction. Yes, I do have more. I got more repeating ones here. So this will come up again in algebra, so I am teaching this. Alright, so let's say we have negative 0.3 repeating. We got negative 0.3 repeating, okay? Well, the negative is just going to hang out on its own. So let's worry about the negative another time. We'll just let n equal 0.3 repeating. That's 0.3 repeating, okay? Of course, the 3's keep going. You have one decimal place here, so in order to move the decimal and get it into an answer where you can get rid of the bar, you need to multiply by 10. 10n will equal 3.3 bar, because if you move the decimal over 1, you have 3.3 repeating. Therefore, 10n equals 3.3 repeating, because you have to multiply by 10 to get that. Okay, so let's do 10n equals 3.3 repeating minus n is equal to 0.3 repeating. Alright, so we do the subtraction, 10n minus n, that's just going to be 9n. That's going to equal, well, what is 3 bar minus 3 bar at 0? We just need to worry about 3 minus 0, which is 3. Alright, so now we divide both sides by 9 to get n by itself. 9's cancel out. N is equal to 3/9, which we know 3/9 is equal to 1/3, but we have that negative. We actually have that negative in front of it, so you're just going to slap a negative sign on the front of it. Because 3/9 reduces to 1/3, then you have that negative sign. The answer you're going to get is negative 1/3. That'll be your fraction. Yes, I do got more. Okay. Let's say we have 4.5 repeating. 4.5 repeating. So if you have any other number than 0 for your whole number, just ignore the whole number for a minute. Because this is going to be the same as 4 plus 0.5 repeating. That would be 4.5 repeating. So just separate the 4 out for a second. Let your n equal that 0.5 repeating, okay? Because 4.5 repeating is the same as 4 plus 0.5 repeating. Let n equal your 0.5 repeating. We'll come back to the 4 later. Alright, so we see one decimal place here. In order to be able to form an equation to get rid of the bar, we need to move it to the right one decimal place, which means we got to multiply by 10. So 10n equals 5.5 bar. So now you're going to go ahead, you'll do 10n is equal to 5.5 bar minus n, which is equal to 0.5 bar. Well, 10n minus n is 9n. 5 bar minus 5 bar, that cancels out. The bar's gone. You just have a 0 where the bars were. Now you just have 5 minus 0, which is 5. So, now we want to get n by itself. You divide both sides by 9. 9's will cancel out. On the left side, you'll have the fraction is equal to 5/9. But you had a 4 to begin with, so you'll have 4 plus 5/9, which would give you 4 and 5/9. So the fraction form of this is going to be 4 and 5/9. If it was just 0.5 bar, it would just be 5/9, but we have that 4 in addition to it, so it's 4 and 5/9. Got a couple more here. Alright, let's say we have 5.6 bar. So we got 5.6 bar. So that we know is equal to 5 plus 0.6 bar. That's 5 plus 0.6 bar. So that separates. We will let our n equal to 0.6 bar. Now, we have one digit here, so in order to be able to form an equation and get rid of the bar, we need to multiply that by 10 to be able to move the decimal place one to the right. So 10n is going to equal 6.6 bar. Now we just do our math here, so you'll have 10n equals 6.6 bar minus n, which equals 0.6 bar. All right, so 10n minus n is 9n, which is equal to, okay, what is 6 bar minus 6 bar? That's 0. The bars are gone. Now you just have 6 minus 0, which is 6. So you're left with 9n. Well, 9n equals 6. Hold on a second. We divide both sides by 9, you'll get n by itself. N equals 6/9. 6/9 both have a 3 in common. You divide 6 by 3, you get 2. You divide 9 by 3, you get 3. So you got 2/3. Now you have the original, you have 5 plus 2/3, because you got to bring in that 5 from the original. Because you got the 0.6 bar as a fraction of 2/3, but you got to add the 5. So 5 plus 2/3 is simply going to be 5 2/3. So that's how you would get that as a fraction. Got a couple more here. Now, how about this? We have 0.32 repeating. You have 0.32 repeating. Okay, so now all of a sudden we have 2 digits repeating. Well, do yourself a favor, let n equal that 0.32 repeating. So 0.32 repeating is the same as 0.32, 32, 32, 32, and it just keeps going and going and going. Well, we want to be able to get rid of that bar, don't we? But we have 2 digits that repeat. So we need to at least be able to move the decimal place over 2 to the right to be able to get 32.32 bar. To be able to move it 2 to the right, you got to multiply by 100. Because to move the decimal places 2 to the right, remember, you multiply by 100. So 100n would equal 32.32 bar. So now you're going to do your 100n equals 32.32 bar minus n, which equals 0.32 bar. Well, on the left side, we have 100n minus n. That equals 99n, which would equal, on the right-hand side, well, that 32 bar minus 32 bar for the decimals, that reduces that to 0. The bar's gone. Now you just have 32 minus 0. That's just 32. Which you have a left side, you need to divide by 99 to get n by itself. The 99s will cancel out. You'll be left with 32 over 99 on the right-hand side. So you'll have n equals 32 over 99. And are there any factors of 32 and 99 in common that will cancel out? There are not. So the fraction form of this is going to be 32 over 99. That's exactly what you would get. All right. So let's see. You have 2.05 repeating. You have 2.05 repeating, which we know is the same as 2 plus 0.05 repeating. All right, so that means now we can leave the 2 alone. We've split up the 2 and 0.5 repeating. We can now make n our 0.05 repeating. Which, what we're going to do here, let's write this out real quick. You have 0.05 repeating, so that'd be 0.0505 0505 yada, yada, yada. We have 2 decimal places, right? We want to be able to get rid of that bar in an upcoming equation. You'll need to move it 2 to the right to be able to get 05.05 repeating, or just simply 5.05 repeating. Okay, so what you got here now, you're going to have to, of course, if you want to move the decimal 2 to the right, you got to multiply n by 100. That's how you move the decimal place 2 to the right, is multiply by 100. So you would 100 n would equal 5.05 repeating. Alright, now you just do your subtraction. So you'll have 100n is equal to 5.05 repeating minus your n, which is equal to 0.05 repeating, or bar, if you just want to call it 0.05 bar. So go ahead, do your subtraction. 100n minus n is 99n. Alright, on the right side, you have 0.05 bar. 05 bar minus 05 bar, that goes. That goes away, makes it 0. You just have 5 minus 0, which is 5. You have 99n. You need to get n by itself. You divide it by 99. Got to do it to the other side, too. 99s will cancel out. So n is equal to 5/99. Well, that's great. You got the fraction for 0.05 repeating, but you still have to add 2 to that, since you originally had a 2 in your original expression. So you have 2 plus 5/99, which therefore is equal to 2 and 5/99. So the answer is, to make this into a fraction, is 2 and 5/99. I got a little more. We'll do a little more. Alright, well, let's do 0.7 repeating. So 0.7 repeating, of course, that is going to be the same as 0.7777777, and yada, yada, yada. The 7s just keep going, right? Okay. Well, let's let n equal our 0.7 repeating. That would just be our n. We see we have 1 decimal place here. Well, we want to be able to get rid of the bar in an upcoming equation, so we have 1 decimal place. We need to move it 1 to the right to give us 7.7 repeating. In order to move the decimal 1 to the right, we got to multiply by 10. So you do 10 times n equals 7.7 repeating. Okay? Now just go ahead and do your 10n equal to 7.7 bar minus n equal to 0.7 bar. Well, on the left side, you got 10n minus n, that equals 9n. The right side, well, first let's start with our 7 bars. You have a 7 bar minus a 7 bar. That goes away. That becomes 0. Now you should have 7 minus 0 is 7. You have 9n equals 7. Divide 9n by 9. The 9's cancel out. Got to do it to the right side. The fraction you're left with is n equals 7/9. And 7/9 does not reduce any further, so 0.7 bar as a fraction is 7/9. The whole goal is to be able to move your decimal places from the original to the minimum number of decimal places you need to be able to cancel out the bar expression in this equation right here. That's the whole idea. Alright, what about 0.92 repeating. We'll do 0.92 repeating. So, of course, we know that's the same as 0.92929292 ... It just keeps on going. Okay. Well, of course, let n equal the original one you were given here, the 0.92 bar. Now, we have 2 decimal places here, right? That means we're going to have to move the decimal 2 places to the right to be able to get rid of that bar in an upcoming equation. So if we do that, you'll have 92.92 bar. 92.92 bar. Well, in order to move the decimal place 2 to the right, you got to multiply by 100 to move the decimal place 2 to the right. So you have 100n equals 92.92 bar. Alright, so now you just do your subtraction. You have 100n equals 92.92 bar minus your n, which equals 0.92 bar. Okay, so then you have 100n minus n, that equals 99n, which is going to be equal to, alright, the 92 bars will cancel out because you have 92 bar minus 92 bar, those are gone, that's 0, but you have 92 minus 0, which is 92. You have 99n here, which means you need to divide both sides by 99 to get that n by itself. 99's cancel out on the left-hand side. The answer you're looking for here, n is equal to 92 over 99. And 92 and 99 have no common factors that'll cancel out, so the fraction you're looking for is 92 over 99. And really, that's all there is to converting these repeated numbers, these repeated decimals, into fractions. If you have 1 decimal place repeating, you just multiply by 10 to be able to get rid of your bar out of the equation that you're going to set up. If you have 2 decimal places, you multiply by 100, to move it over 2 decimal places. Just like we did here for your equation, so you can get rid of the bar. So it's really pretty simple. So the next lesson, we're going to multiply rational numbers. We're going to be multiplying fractions, but we're going to bring variables into it. We're going to be doing some algebraic fractions with multiplying them. So I hope everyone has a good night. Take care.